Speaking of the inside, I'm going to tell a quick story, is that okay? Be careful what you ask. It's not really a quick story, so... But speaking of the inside, our latest album, the Kala album, was recorded in, or was, most of the songs are written in Hawaii, on the island of Maui. We lived on Maui for the winter, and we have a lot of family over there and friends over there. And it was just really amazing thing, you know, because in the past, you know, we've only gone over to Hawaii for like a vacation, you know, like just get on the beach and like just chill. But most, you know, like most of us, I think most people on the mainland here, we view Hawaii as that place that's like, oh, it's a tourist spot, let's go sit on the beach. When actually Hawaii is a very, very, very sacred, very, very deep culture, very, very sacred land, right? And so while we had the time to, you know, spend over there, we really kind of tried our best to honor and learn the ways of the Hawaiian people. It's so beautiful, you know. And a friend of mine, while we were over there, gave us this book called Tales of the Night Rainbow. And it's a book that was written by this grandmother from Molokai, right, one of the islands there. And it's a very sweet book because it's told kind of from a grandmother perspective, like, you know, like bedtime stories type thing. But it tells all about their culture and their family customs and the way they relate to the land and all this stuff. It's very, very sweet. But one of the first stories in the book is the story of the bowl of light, right? And all the Hawaiians believe that under us, right, inside us, everybody, every being that comes into this world, we're all born with a bowl of light. And this light is like our mana, right? It's like our spiritual energy. It's our life force, right? It's the thing that makes us beat and live. And the whole goal of one's life is to grow one's mana, right? Let it shine, right? And the ones that have perfected this, they call their shamans or their kahunas, right? And they can do marvelous works. They can swim with the sharks, or they can heal the sick with a touch, or they can travel from island to island without a boat. These types of stories, right? But on the other hand, if we do something bad, if we like tell a lie, or we do harm to somebody, or we, I don't know, whatever it is, right? A stone goes into our bowl. And the light and the stone can't exist in the same place. So if you do enough bad things, if you're kind of a selfish person, this type of thing, all your light goes out and you're left with a big bowl of stones, you're left with a heavy load, right? But the Hawaiians say at any time that we can flip our bowls upside down, that we can start fresh. Thank God. So when I heard this story, I was really, you know, really moved by the story, and I told my friend who gave me the book, I said, hey, it was actually Uncle Jojo's girlfriend, and I said, oh man, I was really affected by that book, by that story, and she said, well, you should read this other book called The Bowl of Light, which was written by this professor who kind of became the student or the disciple of this very famous shaman named Hale Makua. And Hale Makua's whole life's purpose, life's mission was he traveled around the whole world and he taught people about the bowl of light. He taught people about the aloha spirit, right? This is all he did, right? He was from Big Island. And so anyway, I was reading this book and I was really, you know, in the spirit of the land, everything. And this song popped out, Bowl of Light. But I didn't just want to take this song, this story from this culture, you know, without any permission or without some type of blessing, because I felt like, you know, this is their story and we've taken enough from indigenous cultures. I don't want to take something else, you know. So I asked Uncle Joe, I said, Joe, do you know anybody, maybe I could get like a blessing or permission to play this song when I leave? And Uncle Joe said, yeah, I know an elder, but she's on Big Island, so we'll have to go to Big Island. So I said, that's cool, let's go to Big Island. So we flew to Big Island, we were on Maui, and we went and played this thing called the Flow Festival, which was, I don't know if you heard, but there's a section of Hawaii on the south side where the Pele is flowing across the road, right? And it's blocking that part of Hawaii off from the rest of the island, right? So what do? They throw a festival, right? Usually, if that was here, we'd all be like, oh my God! They're like, let's throw a festival, right? Because it's prayer. Let's get everybody to get together and pray, right? And so we all got together, and it was out on the lava fields on the south side of Big Island, super far out, these black land, you know. And it was on this sovereign Hawaiian land, Uncle Robert's land. And it was more of like a gathering rather than a festival. It was, you know, a really small stage, and it was in this guy's kind of backyard, you know. But there was a lot of great people there, a lot of really important people there. And right when we showed up, I see this big Hawaiian mama right in the center of the dance floor in this hot red dress, and she's just like doing this dance. Yeah. And Uncle Joe turned to me and he said, "That's Auntie Emily. That's who you have to get your blessing from." I was like, she had a kind of intimidating character, you know. I kind of built it up in my head, you know. I was gonna like come to this like holy like man, and he was gonna like bless me, and rainbows would come out of my head, and like, the gods would rain down flowers, you know. You build up the blessing, you know. So I was like, oh shoot, now I'm kind of nervous, right? So the whole weekend, anyway, I was trying to build up my courage to ask Auntie Emily, and I'm kind of shy, so I was trying to find the right time, and finally it was the last day. So, and she was sitting behind the stage in her car, right there, outside. And she was alone. I thought, oh my God, this is it, Trevor, now or never, you gotta do this, you know. So I was like, okay, so I'm walking over there, and I'm like, you know, repeating what I'm gonna say in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna go so good, I got this. And I come up to her, and right as I walk around the front of the car, and I'm just about to introduce myself, this is, you know, and she's lighting this big spliff in her mouth. Yeah. Which is fine. It's just not how I, again, pictured how this is going down. And I didn't know if I was like interrupting something, you know. I mean, I was, but I didn't know, whatever. And so I was just, but she like saw me, and I couldn't like retreat. It was like, so I was like, okay, I gotta do this, you know. So I was just like, hi, Auntie Emily, my name's Trevor Hall, and I'm a singer, and I wrote this song called The Bowl of Light. She's like, I know about the Bowl of Light. It was real like rough, you know. And I was like, yeah, so I was just wondering maybe I could, you know, maybe play it for you, and you could like give me a blessing or something. And you know, by now, like the car is like all smoky, and like people are like gathering around the car, and I'm like, fuck, this is not how I imagined this. It's such a, I've told it a million times, but I get right back there, you know. And it was loud, and she kind of mumbled something. She kind of was like, oh yeah, okay. And I was like, okay, and she's like, okay. And I was like, okay. And I, you know, walked away, and my wife, you know, saw me backstage, and she said, did you get the blessing? I was like, I don't know. So I was all bummed out, you know. I was like, built up this whole thing, you know. So anyway, I was like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna play it anyway, right? Because I'm here in Hawaii, like, I'm just gonna play it, you know. At least I'll play it here. Maybe I won't play it when I go up, but I'll play it here. So I get up on stage, and I written the lyrics out, because it was a new song. I didn't want to forget the lyrics. I put them all, you know, at my feet. And luckily, Auntie Emily was right there in the front of the stage. And I was like, yes, a second chance, you know. And so I did my whole thing again, just in case she didn't remember. And I said, hey, Auntie Emily, my name's Trevor, and blah, 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 blah. And so I said, I'd like to play it. She said, okay. And so I closed my eyes. I'm starting to play. See, I told you this wasn't a short story. I closed my eyes. I started playing the song. And I'm like halfway through the song. And something happened where my heart or something just kind of popped open, and I felt this heavy presence. I just started bawling uncontrollably on stage. Totally not awkward at all. You know, I'm trying to get through this song. I'm like literally like sobbing my eyes out because I just felt this presence, you know. And when I opened my eyes, I looked down at the lyrics, the sheets of lyrics, and there's all these lava stones on the lyrics. And I thought, man, I don't know if this is good or bad because I'm trying to get rid of my stones, and now all these stones are at my feet, you know. Really, I was like super paranoid. I was like, oh shit. And so I looked at Auntie Emily. I said, Auntie Emily, do I have your blessing? She said, yes, you have my blessing. So I was like, oh my God, thank God. Right? And then when I got off stage, my wife said, oh, you didn't see because your eyes were closed. As we were singing the song, she was taking these stones, these lava stones, and she was praying on them, and then she was putting them on the lyrics. So I know, right? The blessing worked out way better than I thought. So it's a very special song to me because it really brings me back to the spirit of, you know, aloha, and the spirit of the bowl of light, and that land and that people and those colors. And you know, community is such a sacred thing, you know. And these days, I think I'm reading this book. Sorry, now I'm just gonna rant a little bit. I'm reading this book called Tribe, and it's talking about how in our Western culture we're kind of brought up that success is like to have a big house and like have your property and have it fenced in, and you're like so happy. When really we really weren't supposed to live like that, right? Because we're cutting ourselves off from everybody else. And they find that in these poorer countries or in indigenous places, if you look back in time and history, right? Depression and anxiety, these things didn't exist in native cultures and tribes. And we really lost that. And so, Bowl of Light, when I play it, I think of that community when we were there, when we came together as a prayer. Just like we're doing now, right? We're all coming together and we're just enjoying life, and we're just singing songs and playing music, you know. It's a really special thing. It does so many things, you know. It does so many things for me. I hope it does something for you, but it does so many things.